Welcome to The Short Score, your weekly update of roping news from around the industry, where you can find the latest on the sport from the pro rodeo ranks to the jackpot world. I'm Taylor Vollen, and I'm your host. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Short Score. It's your host, Taylor Vollen. Today's guest is a super fun one in my opinion. It's the one and only Joe Beaver. Joe B is heading for Levi Pettigrew up in the Great Lakes Circuit nowadays, and the two of them had a really great weekend up there. They were 8-3 at Tarkio, Missouri to place 5th, 4-8 to win Holly, Minnesota, and 5 flat to win 2nd at Merrill, Wisconsin. They both took home about $2,500 over the weekend. And on today's episode, you're going to get to hear a little bit about the weekend they had and the runs they made, and why Joe's claiming the Great Lakes Circuit and his partnership with Levi. Alrighty, let's talk about your runs this weekend. You went to Tarkio, Merrill, and Holly, correct?
I did. Yeah.
Walk me through them.
Well, for me, it's about. I've got a really, really good partner. I've got a kid that ropes really good, and he kind of makes an old cripple guy look good. Levi Pettigrew, I'm a stepping stone for him. I just want to try to get him seen and get his confidence and get him know what he can do, because he wants a bigger show than what I show him for sure. And one of these, I think he will, It's fun for me, but of course I still want to win if I go, and I want to be sure and give him a chance to win. So that's what kind of drives me in the summer to take off and come up here where it's cool. I hang out at Mel Potter's place with Sherry and Corey.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
And we just kind of rewind and go to the circuit rodeos. I like the Great Lakes Circuit. It's challenging. Because you may start out on one that's big as a football field on Thursday, and Saturday you're at a racetrack on the side of a hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, we started Tarkio. We had a steer that run real hard and there was a split, few slow ones, and they were going to win everything on them. But we had a runner, and I ran him a little too far, reached a long way. Levi really cleaned him up good, and we wound up, I think, winning 5th or so. Then we ran 2 really good steers that, even at my age and my lack of ability I'm supposed to win 1st or 2nd on. The thing I will say that's kind of, unique about up here at these rodeos, the setups are a little different. A lot of setup arenas, not arenas that are there all the time.
Yep.
So it's a different kind of deal, and you got to score good, you got to draw good, and that's what we did in Hamill. I just scored good and caught the steer, and Levi just put the pipes down, and we won it. And then we won 2nd at Merrill yesterday, and I think the best thing about that was that we won 2nd, 1/10 off of a top 30 team. So that kind of made me feel good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The kids that you still got a little bit of game to play with the kids, maybe not the serious. I don't have the serious game. I know that I'm not crazy, but it's made it fun to where when you're supposed to win and you draw a good one, that you can win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that makes it fun. It
right.
Really does.
Well, and it's got to mean something too to go and win money at every rodeo you went to over the weekend. Sure, it might have been 3. That's probably way different from when you were hitting the road hard, but still, I mean, that's a good sign.
Well, and you're right, and it does, and it gives you, it gives you the feel that, that you don't. It's not like I can't give Levi a chance to win. You know what I mean? I don't want to be. I wrote with McCoy Pro Philly, for a few years after I was done. And it was the same way with him. I had more game then, and we went different places, but I didn't want to feel like I was hindering him, Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not crazy either. I'm no Clay Triner, no Caleb Diggers, or none of them to help them, but at least I want to give them a chance when we have good ones to win 1st through 3rd and place on ones that maybe, that I should have used to, maybe would have won 1st or 2nd on. But it makes it fun. You have to win for it to be fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like the old saying goes, the more I win, the funnier it is,
Yeah.
But it did. It made it fun to start off. We went the first one of the year that I got to go to was Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah.
think we won fifth or something. So it kind of kicked it off fun, because I have to, I do the clinics and the TV, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to turn loose till about this week, but it sure made it a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have to ask,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of young kids, they they think of, like, they look at you as Joby the calf roper. Like, I think a lot of young kids kind of forget you made the finals, what, 4 or 5 times in the team roping?
Yeah, I think I made them 4, and
Yeah.
I think Brad and I won second in average that year
Mm-hmm.
with Brad Culpepper, and I won a lot of. I think I won second and third at Cheyenne, a couple times, and
Mm-hmm.
it was the fact of it is I think what they don't realize is when I first cracked out, and for the first 10 years I rodeoed, team roping was not treated as an equal event.
Yep. Yeah.
The money wasn't equal. The rodeos weren't the same. All rodeos didn't have it. It was kind of a chore to go to those and to the other ones with my calf roping,
Mm-hmm.
And other than if there wasn't for the Clay O'Brien and the me and the Matt Tylers and the Jake Barnes standing up at the NFR that year, and just kind of putting our foot down and saying, hey, we need equal money. I don't think it would have ever went as quick as it did to as much money as it did, because they were just trying to sweep us under the rug,
Yeah, for sure.
So therefore I didn't team rope.
Mm-hmm.
I team roped when I was young, a lot. I went to IRA rodeos. The year I went to the IRAs, I think I was like third or fourth in the team rope and head that year when they took my points away. So I had rope, but it just wasn't feasible, I didn't think, for me to do it until the money got better. And then I had a couple chances. I wanted to try to win the all around,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like my hazing, the year I rodeo with Bill Pace and Bob Loomis and Hayes, at the national finals, and hazed everywhere. Everybody's like, man, well, when I was amateur and we did everything,
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of set me up for later. But you're right. A lot of kids that have probably never even seen me team rope didn't know I did.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh when they look at me. Hey, Miss Joe, I didn't know you roped anymore. It's kind of the deal where, it's a full circle life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's almost like now it's like it was when I first started. I'm roping because I enjoy it, and it's fun, and it's the wonder, can I still win? Like when I first got in, I wonder if I can win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For once I got in and realized I could for 25, 30 years, I didn't think there's no way you could beat me,
Mm-hmm.
But now it's almost like it's reverted back to when I just cracked out, can I still win? And I think that's what drives me along,
Yeah. Well, and that's, that was going to be kind of my next question is, what are kind of the team roping goals right now, the long-term goals?
Oh, it's just, I'd love, I got McCoy Pro Philly to the point where I told him that year we won enough to go to buildings, and we won quite a bit. And I was kind of at my limits, and I told him, I said, McCoy, you need to get a real partner. You need to, I've enjoyed it. I love this. And I love that kid to death. He's like family, he went with us. But I saw how he was progressing and getting so dominant with his heel rope. I was like, man, it's time for him to go on, and that's where I am with Levi. I want Levi at some point for me to, him have the horses and the ability to do everything he needs to do to move on and be better and be more successful. And then maybe there'll be another kid come along and I can take along with me, you know, but that's, I think the goals I have for now is to try to help, a kid get to his potential and move on past me, and then maybe find another one. And it keeps you young. It keeps you competing. I think the reason we all do what we do as champions, and I'm not taking away from anybody else, I'm saying we do it because we love it, and we do it because it's something that we want to do. We want to be the best we can be. And even now, I'm 59 years old this year, and I'm still, I rope with Corey today and worked on some stuff. I don't get to rope near as much as I used to, but the summer I still, as long as I can compete and win, I don't want to be down there in the hot humidity of South Texas. It's no fun when you're old and you don't have to do it. I'm lucky, life's been good to Jen and I with a lot of ups and downs in our life. But the ups are I'm in good shape where I can do what I want to do, and we can enjoy what we want to do. So the cool weather entices us to come back up here to this area, and the people up here, I like the people. So I think the goals right now are just to get Levi to be somebody that some guy calls and says, "Hey, you need to get rid of that old crippled guy that doesn't rope good and come rope with me,"
Oh,
and that won't be a slap Demby. That'll be a feather. I'll be like, "You dang right, go get it."
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Well, okay, aside from the cooler weather and the people, what made you decide to claim the Great Lakes Circuit?
Honestly, that was our decision. Why? My wife said about 4 years ago, she had a really good horse. We were going to some amateurs down there, and she made the UPRA finals and the CPRA finals and all that, And I said something about, we might as well go some circuit rodeos. And we were at Lockhart, Texas one night. It was about 360 degrees, and it was humid, sweat. And she come out and she said, "Listen, if we're going somewhere, find me some cool weather." And I said, "Boy, you're right." And so I just went to kicking it around, and I actually talked to Roy Lee, and I talked to Cody Hubier, and I talked to Petsko one day, and he comes back here in the summer if he's not rodeoing. And I told Levi last year, I met Levi on a horse deal. I didn't know Levi from Adam, and he's one of the best kids that I've been around in years. He's an old he's an old soul in a young body. He's just a good guy to be around, and he was real honest and upfront on a horse deal, and that he had nothing to do with other than delivering, really. And we got to be friends, and he showed me some videos, wanted me to sell his heel horse, and I was like, "Who is that heeling?" He said, "Well, that's me." And I said, "Son, what the hell are you going to sell your horse for? You heel that good?" And he said, "Well, I have been to the amateurs. I would like to go off some, but I don't have no partner, no really way to go and stuff." And we had just talked about, my wife and I, about finding some cool weather. And I said, "Hey, hold that thought for a little bit." I said, "Would you rope an old guy that doesn't have much game if I found a good horse?" He's like, "Yes, sir, I'll try it with you." So that brought us to cooler weather right there.
It's so funny, too, because I born and raised in Salinas, California on the West Coast. And,
I go. One of my favorite rodeos.
It's great. I'm so glad my parents still live back there. I get to go home all the time. But
yes, ma'am.
I went with Roy over the 4th last year, and I went home. Everyone was kind of asking. They're like, "So where'd you go?" And I'm like, "Well, we stayed in in the circuit, but we went up to like Manawa." And I was like, everybody kind of writes off the Great Lakes Circuit, I feel like. And I was like, those people up there, you will not see a more fun and bigger crowd at some of those rodeos.
No,
they
baby,
love
you're so
it.
Right. People have no idea. They're just hanging on the fences,
Yeah,
and they enjoy it. And it's, it's a little bit of the working, the real farmers, just like in Salinas, that area used to be, the big farmers that enjoy the rodeo lifestyle or the whatever, following, however you want to word it. You know what I mean? They turn out, they drink some beer, they have a hot dog, they cheer at the rodeos, the crowds are big. And you're right, it's an enjoyable rodeo to go to, a circuit to go to.
Yeah.
Well, just like the circuit finals, I'd never been to them till last year when I made them, and my gosh, they packed that place.
It's so cool. I mean, it really is.
It is. It's one. I'll venture out to say, in the southeastern circuit finals, and down there in Davie, I will have to say are the biggest crowds and the most into it rodeo bunch I've ever seen at somewhere besides the national finals.
Yeah,
those two.
Yeah.
We've enjoyed it back here, and I like the people, and you can count, you see a lot of the same people every week, the same stock contractors, but the committees really try hard back here, to be something special, to make rodeos special. And that just kind of means something once you've been to, for as many years as I've been to as many different places I've been, it's kind of fun just to, go to them,
Yeah. Back to kind of the weekend. Tell me a little bit about those 3 setups, maybe how they were different.
Tarkio, I thought, man, this is a little long because, like I said, nothing is standard back here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There was a setup, it was an arena they built a long time ago. So box was a little narrow, a little short. Barry was even. So you're gonna have to let them and go catch them. And these are some steers Bobby Joe had sent up, and they've been roping them down there in the heat, and been roping them in those buildings where it's quick. So they said they were really slow. Well, they weren't slow when they got there, and it was 75 degrees at night, and it was a big open setup. So it was kind of you had to see, your standard old start on even and go get them.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a good start. He got away from me, and I thought, you're not going first or second, but you got to knock him down. So I ran him a ways and reached a long ways and got him, and Levi really healed him sharp.
Right.
And then we go the next night to Minnesota, and it is kind of a deep, long, kind of a wide box, and it was even there. And we had one that they knew the week before just loped.
Mm-hmm.
High lopers, strong, medium, just loped down the arena, big horns.
Mm-hmm.
And 7-1 was winning it. We were about third to the last team. And I thought, this is where you sometimes mess up, and you just try to get by. Don't just get by. The winner in you says you ought to win a rodeo by a full second, know? And I did. I just blowed the barrier out, because my dumb ass doesn't know how to back off. and instead of just, making sure I just blowed it out, and he's right there, and I just went right all the way to him, and Levi healed him on the first top, and, we're 4-8, and I think 7 flat wins second.
Right.
And that kind of carried over to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We get there Sunday, and, the first team out is 5-7, I think, and that's winning first, and then 3 teams later is 5-2, and then 3 teams later is 4-9. So I thought, well, even though you got a loper, you can't back off, because everybody knows the steer should be won on, and you can't not win on him. So I got a little early, and I got me a pull, and when they hollered you're out, I thought, now it's just lay it on the horns and let Levi heal him, and he did. Levi's got a lot of game, and he really sets them down on a hard, tight hit, and he roped really good this week. Made it real easy for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the horse you're riding.
I think what is he, Jenna, 20 this year? I bought him last. My buddy, my good friend that I rope in all the World Series big ropes, Rusty Barnett.
Mm-hmm.
I rope with him when I'm home once a week. He lives about 10 minutes from me. He knew I was looking for a horse. I had Levi lined up. This was May of last year. We're going to leave in June. I'm trying horses. I can't find what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a customer there one day trying calf horses in my house, and the phone rings. It's Rusty. And I answered, and he says, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm showing some horses. Man, you need to get down here like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your saddle. And he said, I want you in 5 steers, you'll buy this head horse. I said, man, Rusty, I'm busy, but he said, I'm telling you, this guy's back and forth about selling him. He just said he would sell him before he changes his mind. I promise you it's not wasted. So I called Jenna, and we throw the saddle in, and we run down there, and I pulled up at his house. That guy had his horse tied there, and I said, Rusty, is this the horse? And that guy kind of looked at me and looked at Rusty, and Rusty said, yep. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, Rusty said you're going to sell him. I'm going to try him. Oh, well, I said I might. I said, no, I drove down here. I run 5 steers on him and bought the horse and left him there at Rusty's and went back to my deal and finished up my stuff. And the first rodeo we went to, I think we won 6th or 7th. It was Kansas City,
wow. Yeah.
and it was tough, and I think we won something. And I have honestly, I bet I've not run 10 practice steers on him, and I've had him a year 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
I ride him at the rodeos, and Jenna ponies him, and I got his papers last year. I was like, damn, that's sucker. The rest said, I don't care how old he is. I'm telling you, you'll love him.
Mm-hmm.
And I do. He's just as easy. He scores every time. He backs in there, and I had a brown horse that I rode the finals and everywhere like this. Sometimes he might look over the left wall.
Mm-hmm.
He'll just turn his head over there, and people are always trying to straighten his head, and I'm like, he's fine. Because when the gate opens, he straightens up and flat-footed, and he's got enough run, and he doesn't have a big drop, and he will face. He's just perfect for an old guy that still thinks he can compete.
Oh, gosh. I don't think I would categorize yourself as that, but
well, it gets closer every year.
Oh God.
But he's made it really easy, and I've always said, give me a good horse over a great horse.
Mm-hmm.
Great horses have their places. Cheyenne, Salinas, the big Houston, Tucson,
mm-hmm.
A good horse you can ride anywhere and get by. And that's kind of how he is. He's just a good, the other night when that steer was running, he just kept running, and I reached a long way, and he just stayed up, let me get a dally and set him up where he could heal him. And over there yesterday, I got a pull, and they come across, and I took one more to make sure, and he just let me take one more swing, and And then he just, he prances around, warming him up, and he walks back to the trailer like, okay, job's done. Now feed me. But he makes it fun.
Yeah, and that's important.
That is, especially when you're out here like when we do it. We enjoy it. Like today, we got up today and went to town, and we went and ate lunch, and we went and picked up stuff, Tractor Supply. We bought some groceries, and we come home, and Jenna cooked for us all tonight after we roped, and we sat and visited with Sherry and Corey, and that's the fun.
Yeah,
that's the fun of it for us. But with a winner, you also, we don't want to just show up. We want to win something, And if you can still win, at our age and at our way we go at these rodeos, it's fun because that's another thing I think people underestimate. These rodeos aren't easy.
Yeah. Yep.
They're. I tell everybody, come get you a dose. These steers are big horns. Arenas are traps. It's a different deal. There's about 15. They get about 70 barrel racers everywhere. There's about 15 tough ass horses.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great place to go, but you don't duck off anywhere anymore.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. Okay, so what's the rest of the summer look like? Where are you going next?
We're gonna go to a couple this week, and then I have to fly to. I don't have to. I get to fly to Perry, Georgia, and do the opening talk at the junior high finals.
Awesome, yeah.
Yep. And then I go home for 2 days to finish out my horse deals. Last week, I've also got to film 3 more episodes. No, I don't have to. Again, I get to film 3 more episodes of my show Winning Ways with Joe B on Wild Rides TV.
Sweet.
I filmed how many did I do last week? 4. I did 4 last week. I've got 7 in the tank, and I'm going to do 3 more. I've done Fred, Trevor, Cody, Wagon Spack, Bob Tallman, and I did Mac Altizer, Bad Company Rodeo, where it all started.
Awesome.
Yep, and I got I'm going to do Casey Field and a couple more, so I'm going to knock that out, 1 out next week maybe, and get horses sold, and I'm back up here for the rest of the summer.
Cool. I'm assuming circuit finals are on the mind, right? Like that's the goal?
Yes, that's our game. Our goal is to make the circuit finals and take a picture with me and Levi and Jenna when we're there and so enjoy it. And then one of these days when he's at the finals, him and McCoy, I have pictures from our circuit finals to talk about it.
That's awesome. I love it. Big winners from the weekend were Clint Summers and Jake Long. Summers and Jake won both Weatherford, Texas and Woodward, Oklahoma. In Weatherford, they were 4.6 seconds to each take home $3,412. And in Woodward, they were 4.3 seconds to each take home $3,635. Over on the West Coast, Livermore, California wrapped up. Kevin Daniel and Travis Graves were 5.4 seconds to each win $3,835. And up in Sisters, Oregon, which wrapped up June 11th, Lightning Aguilera and Jared Fillmore were 4.8 seconds to each win $4,858. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope you're keeping up with the Team Roping Journal social media. We're going to be covering everything you guys want to know about pro rodeo as the summer progresses.